And for me, I was like, I never want to feel that way ever again. I never want to feel that way ever again. And I refuse to let anyone ever make me feel that way. I refuse to let another man make me feel that way. I'm going to protect those who I care about, even if it means having to endure hardships, and even if it means having to get punished. What's going on, crew? Welcome back to Founders Fire, where we're just going to get deep, real about the challenges and the fires and the tests that you have to be able to endure as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as you're growing, as you're starting a business, going from startup to bona fide business to exit, all the different feelings and emotions in between. So today, what I actually want to talk about is how everything is preparation. This was sparked from a conversation that I had with a really close friend of mine about the challenges that goes into building a business and getting to the point of breakthrough. And he was talking about how some people were just complaining about trivial things that don't matter. We're in different entrepreneur communities and things like that. And one of the things that I shared that he found really interesting was, I will take the hard and difficult challenges of running and building a company in a first world country over living in a third world country any day of the week, twice on Sunday. And the challenge that people have when it comes to being in the fire of entrepreneurship is, as you endure the fire of entrepreneurship and you endure the hardships of anything, what happens is that who you really are at your core starts to get revealed to yourself. Challenges, hardships, all those things, difficulties, they just really expose who you really are at your core. Who you are when the chips are stacked against you, when the odds aren't in your favor, when shit's hitting the wall, when shit's hitting the fan. Who you are in those moments is who you truly are. And all of that is preparation for the next stage. I look at my life and I am fully convinced that God was preparing me for entrepreneurship. The reason being is that I have had a pretty hard life. Now, if you compare my life to somebody else's life who's had it harder, I may not have had it as bad, but I've had a pretty hard life. My mother was a single mother of 4 boys, and I spent 5 years of my life, my childhood, in Nigeria, in a village in Benin. 5 years of my life, from when I was 2 to when I was like 7.5, 5 years without my parents. So the early stages of my life when you're building your long-term memories and you're really developing your personality and figuring out the world around you, I spent that time without my parents in a third world country with a grandmother who really didn't care for us. And I was there with my older brother. And the challenges that we had to endure over that 5-year stretch, I wouldn't wish on anyone. But as I look back, I am so thankful for that experience because it gave me a kind of proximity of what to compare hardships to. So there's a point where I'm just not bothered by things that bother most people because of the things that I witnessed in that time. I've witnessed death firsthand. I've had several near-death experiences. I've had to eat things that you probably wouldn't even imagine or even comprehend. How could you possibly ingest that? I've eaten maggots, I've eaten termites, I've eaten worms, I've eaten snails, I've eaten crickets. I've eaten a lot of weird stuff to survive, and the challenges of that time are incredible. Like, as a child in a third world country, being stripped from my parents and having to build a level of resilience and level of just kind of like I had to be hard. very, very quickly. I was soft when I got there, but I had to build thick skin and get very hard, like become very tough and rigid very, very quickly because that's just what you had to do to survive. And some of those lessons, those experiences have turned into foundational lessons to kind of shape who I am today. Now, one of them that has shaped my leadership style and how I show up for the people that I care about started really early on. And the reason why this came to surface is I was having a conversation and somebody was just like, man, you are probably, I'm just going to go out and say this, you are the best leader I've ever had. They were like, your ability to really hold us to a standard, but then also like really like fight for us is incredible. And they're asking me like where that come from. And that came from a situation in Nigeria. Like that attitude was like, I'm going to stand up for what is right. And I'm going to go out of my way to protect those who can't really protect themselves. That kind of like shepherd mentality where I want to be a good steward of the people that God entrusted me started as a young age. In Nigeria, there are so many prejudices. Like people are like legitimately racist against one another. It's kind of like, it's crazy. I'm just not bothered by when people are judgmental or they look at the color of my skin and whatever. Like I don't even notice that happening most of the time because I've already experienced it as a child. Me being lighter skinned, I was fair skinned. My older brother was darker skin, darker complexion. He got a lot of hatred, like just disgusting amount of hatred. And it really like broke my heart because he's like my best friend. And the time that shaped who I am to this day, like it's gonna be hard for me to talk about it. So we're kids, and my uncle asked my older brother, he didn't even ask, he told my older brother to go and get a soda, cold soda from the store. Mind you, we're in the village. It's not like it was down the street. It was like 2 hours away. So my brother goes on this long trip. He has to walk to go get a bottle of Coke. And by the time he gets back, it's no longer cold. It's like pretty much fully like thawed out, kind of like room temperature. But mind you, Nigeria is on the equator. It is hot as hell in Nigeria and it's humid. So it feels even hotter. So he took this 2-hour trip to go get this man some soda. And he comes back and he expects it to be cold. It's not like he drove there. It's not like he rode his bike there. He had to walk there. And so he gets back and it's not to his liking. And he's pissed. Starts yelling at my brother, goes out and gets a switch. If you don't know what a switch is, it's one of those very flexible sticks that are like whips, right? And they hurt and they cut flesh when you're hit hard enough with it. He starts abusing my brother physically, like hitting him. And then he tells me to slap him for being, I don't remember the word that he used, but essentially he wanted me to slap him from being insubordinate. And I remember just being so terrified. And I'm like, mind you, I'm like six years old. Right. So I remember just being so terrified. It's like either you slap him or I'm going to beat both of you senseless. Right. And he goes out, gets his switch, grabs his belt. And so I look at my brother and I'm just like, and I went and I slapped him. And even as I think about it, it breaks my heart. Like I could start crying if I think about it long enough. And it just broke me. I remember feeling so ashamed. I felt like such a coward. I felt like I just betrayed my best friend, you know. I felt so guilty. And for me, I was like, I never want to feel that way ever again. I never want to feel that way ever again. And I refuse to let anyone ever make me feel that way. I refuse to let another man make me feel that way. I'm going to protect those who I care about, even if it means having to endure hardships, and even if it means having to get punished. I just never want to feel that again. So fast forward to the time when we get back to the United States, I'm getting bullied because I don't really know how to speak English that well. And I was like one of like 4 African Americans at the school that I was at, the elementary school that I was at. And so for me, I'm like, I just didn't care that I was getting bullied just because of all the trauma that I already endured. So these little Caucasian kids, call me names and things like that. It's just not, I was just happy. I was just happy to be in the United States. I was just so happy to be here that I just didn't care. All right. So one of the kids, they started to get emboldened, right? The more I just didn't care about how they were treating me, and the more I didn't retaliate, they're just pushing the boundaries a little bit more. Name calling got to like knocking stuff out of my hand and slowly start to escalate in physicality. Mind you, in Nigeria, I was forced to fight. I knew how to defend myself. I was forced to fight as a kid. I got my ass whooped several times. Fist fights, got kneed in the face, elbowed in the face. Had to fight kids that were like twice my size for sport. All right, so I was just done with the violence. I was done with the physical altercations, and I just didn't care. All right, and it slowly started to escalate, and it got more and more, and these kids started to get more emboldened to the point one of them stabbed me with a pencil. And at that point, I snapped, beat the shit out of him, and then I got called into the principal's office. The teacher was freaking out, but she defended me because she was like, I've never seen him behave this way. Something had to happen. I showed them I was bleeding in my back, and showed them the pencil mark from the kid who stabbed me. And so he was suspended, and I got to go to school the next day. Now, what happened after that is every one of those kids treated me radically different. None of them ever bullied me again. And I learned a lesson that I need to be willing. It's not enough for me to behave in a way that makes people feel safe. And it's not enough for me to be loyal to those that I care about. I have to be able to protect myself and those around me. So I developed the mindset that I want to create a safe space for people to really be who they want to be and express the things that they're interested in. Like, I never made fun of anyone or made them feel bad about their unique quirks and things like that, because I know what that feels like. I never made anyone feel inferior because I know what that feels like. So when I'm in a room, if I see injustice, if I see someone making fun of somebody else, I call it out and I stop it right there and there. Like, I don't care, because I just hate when people use their strength to belittle others. And that's where that came from. And those little situations, I mean, they're not little, but those like traumatic situations were preparations for the kind of person that I would need to be to build a company, to run a team in a way that honors God, that has integrity, but then also build a backbone to where I'm like, I'm not afraid to have hard talks with people. I'm not afraid of confrontation. Like, when people get anxious about confrontation, like I've had to confront so many people and be confronted with difficult situations to the point where I'm just not bothered. I don't lose sleep having to have hard conversations. Like, I will talk to anyone, call them out on their stuff, but do it in a way that's loving, because I just want what's best for them. As a founder, you have to be able to have those hard conversations, and you have to be able to endure the hardships, and your resilience is going to be tested in many different ways. But when you're in the furnace and you're getting burned and the heat gets to the point where you don't feel like you can handle the heat any longer. One of the things that's going to help you is thinking about what are similar circumstances that you've had to endure that you can look at as preparation for this very moment that you're in right now. Fortunate enough for me, unfortunate for me, I have an abundance of those types of story. That was just one of probably hundreds upon hundreds of circumstances that I can reflect on that were extremely difficult, that challenged me at my core and forced me to evolve or capitulate. All right. So just wanted to share that as you're going through the hardships of the business, as you're in the furnace, everything that's led you to this point is preparation. Everything that you've experienced up until this point has been preparation to help you overcome the next challenge. It's your job to reflect on the past experiences and pull all the lessons that you can and create a tool belt of different tools that you have that you can put in your tool belt that you can use for any circumstances that you'll face moving forward. All right, all the challenges, all the hardships, all the setbacks, all those things are just preparations. They're things that you can grab that can become tools and playbooks and things that you can develop into internal operating systems, mental frameworks that you can use to make decisions and overcome challenges and face things head on. One of those for me, in terms of like how I lead and protect those around me, came from that traumatic experience as a child. So when people tell me that they feel very, very safe around me, when they say, man, Iggy, when you're around, I just feel like I can do anything. It is so encouraging for me to hear because those experiences force me to become somebody who could protect those around me, become somebody who creates a safe space for others to truly feel like they can express themselves in the most healthy and genuine way possible, right? And all your past experience shape who you're becoming as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, right? But it's up to you to look back, grab those lessons, take those things, eat the fish, spit out the bones, and turn those experiences, as many of them, into tools that you can put in your tool belt and turn them into fuel that you can put into your tank to help drive you forward. So I hope you found this helpful. I know typically things like this may not be the easiest to share, but I wanted to be real. What this podcast is about is just being real, being honest and open about the challenges, circumstances, and situations that you have to deal with as a founder. And a lot of those things that determine how you show up come from unresolved things in your past. So you may need to go back, confront, and grab the lessons that you need from them to shape who you are so you can move forward. Right. And that was one of them for me. So I hope you found this helpful. Drop your 6-word update in the comments. Like, what in 6 words or less, how would you describe what you've gotten from listening to this episode? And then share your case in point. Till next time, stay calm, change lives, and have business on the show. Peace.